This teleportation array, built on the ground, costs more than 200 years of life for Qin Feng now. This consumption is not too much. You know, just the epic boss of the Great Disaster Hades alone has brought Qin Feng 6,000 to 7,000 years of tradable life. So compared to before, now Qin Feng's lifespan has not only not decreased, but has increased a lot, and has another 22,000 years of life. Part of it comes from the Great Disaster Hades. Another part comes from the income brought to Qin Feng by NPC in the past 2 days. Whether it is the official or the Skydome Guild, many people came to use the NPC service, which brought considerable income to Qin Feng. At this time, the teleportation array was built. Many players of the Skydome Guild gathered nearby, marveled, and cheered again. The upgrade of the Evil Spirit Academy to an Emerald level hideout has already surprised them. The appearance of this teleportation array made them even more ecstatic. After all, this means that no matter where they go in the future, it will be much more convenient. Fuck! It only takes less than an hour to teleport from our hiding place to the center of the Magic City ruin. It will be so convenient to go to the trading market in the future. That's right. It was almost 20 kilometers from our hiding place to the trading market. Now we can save time. It has to be Shadow. Wow, I'm so touched. Shadow Dad is awesome. For ordinary players, the trading market in the center of the Magic City ruins is a place they have to go every day. That place is the trading center for hundreds of millions of players in the entire Magic City. It is the largest trading place, and there are official personnel stationed there to ensure safety to a certain extent. There are already many small trading markets gathered in other areas of the Magic City ruin, but those trading markets are not very formal, and safety cannot be guaranteed. And Qin Feng is chatting with Zhang Jingshuang. That's about it. There is no life source array at present. If there is a life source array, we can use our own teleportation array in the future, and the lifespan consumed will be several times less, or even dozens of times less. When we need to teleport to other city ruins, the consumption will be much less. So, the maintenance cost of this teleportation array is about 10 years a day, and it will be handed over to your Sky Guild. Is that okay? Hearing this, Zhang Jinchuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She pursed her lips. With helplessness in her beautiful eyes, of course there is no problem. I will delegate the use of the teleportation array to the guild members. In addition, that Fuxi. The girl told Qin Feng about Fuxi. Qin Feng didn't have any opinion on this. You can deal with your people yourselves. As for the comments on the forum, don't pay too much attention to it. The real thing is to kill monsters and level up. Yeah, I understand. Zhang Jinchuan nodded immediately. On the other side, another Skydome Guild manager sent by Old Zhang to talk to Fuxi sighed in front of Fuxi. Brother, it's not that the guild has to take back your equipment. You really went too far this time. There are still more than 20 brothers in a nightmare state. Xiaowu, Meng, Kaitu, the three of them have never extracted too much physical energy to reality. I don't know if they can make it this time. Hand in your equipment first, wait a few days and see. If none of our brothers are dead, ask the brothers if they are willing to accept you. If a brother leaves, it will be difficult for us unless the brother's relatives can forgive you. Do you understand? The young Fuxi was silent. He said, it's true that I want to return to the guild, but it's also true that I blame myself, alas. Then do as you say, brother. If a brother really leaves, I won't have the face to come back. After the Great Disaster Hades incident, the overall atmosphere of the ruins of the Demon City has become more solemn than before. Many people realized that the advent of this godforsaken game was far more cruel than they had imagined, but they didn't know. The real cruelty was still to come. After Qin Feng built the teleportation array of the Evil Spirit Academy, he teleported to the ruins of Zhanghai City through this teleportation array. He had to go back to the Pure Soul Land and build a teleportation array in the Pure Soul Land. In this way, when we have the life source array in the future, it will only take a few dozen days to travel between Zhanghai City and Demon City. You know, it takes 3 years of life to teleport between the two cities. Now, when he came to the center of the ruins of Zhanghai City, he found that the area around the teleportation array had become well organized. Not many people use the teleportation array. Most of them are players who have resurrected in this area. Of course, as more and more players join the Hidden, the number of players resurrected in the guild is decreasing. Under the official supervision of Zhanghai City, the surrounding area is in good order. Coming out of the teleportation room, there are trading areas and team formation areas outside. Qin Feng remained invisible and headed towards the Pure Soul Land. Along the way, he heard that there seemed to be many people complaining about a female player. How shameless. A rookie. The Night Guild is willing to protect her from death, and they want to force them to take her to upgrade. That's right. Although it's pitiful to have broken legs, her combat power can't keep up, and it's good enough to be alive. Do you still want to upgrade? The key is that the Night Guild has no obligation to take her. Helping her heal her legs is already a benevolent act. I'm dying of laughter. They want to morally blackmail the Night Guild. Fortunately, the president didn't agree. Otherwise, it would be irresponsible to the guild members. That's right. The Night Guild, although the tax rate of the Temple Guild is a bit high, it is developing very well. There are many strong people in the guild. If you have nowhere to go, you can really consider it. Hey, don't say that casually. A 50% tax rate. Is that a bit high? The tax rate is high, but there are also benefits. Otherwise, where did the 12 gold level hideouts come from? Aren't they all bought with guild funds? In the end, they became members' benefits. Qin Feng knew as soon as he heard it that these people were talking about Qin Xiaoyu. It sounds like Qin Xiaoyu wants to improve, upgrade, and become stronger. So she insists that Chen Wuming take her to upgrade. But at this stage, who doesn't want to develop quickly? I can't even kill monsters myself, and I still take a disabled person with me. So Qin Xiaoyu seems to want to kidnap Morley. But Chen Wuming turns the tables, making it seem that all the major guilds in Zhanghai City know how much this female player named Xiao Yuya is pushing for an inch. This makes Qin Feng speechless. In his previous life, he took Qin Xiaoyu with him most of the time, but she felt that he was not free. Now, no one took her with him even if she wanted to. This is probably the freedom she wants. When Qin Feng returned to the entrance of the Pure Soul Land, he saw that the Knights Templar Guild was very dedicated, and there were 6 players guarding the entrance outside. Qin Feng went downstairs in stealth. As a result, at the stone door, he saw Qin Xiaoyu, who was taking a nap. She was wearing a silver-level priest robe. Leaning against the wall, sitting on the stairs with her hands on her knees, Qin Feng ignored her. He went forward to open the stone door and entered the Pure Soul Land. As a result, the noise woke Qin Xiaoyu up, looking at the open stone door. With surprise and tension on her face, she immediately said, "Brother, my legs are gone." Bang! Qin Feng closed the stone door as if he didn't hear it. He opened his friend list and clicked on Chen Wuming's private chat. "There's a woman at my door? From your guild. She called me brother when she saw me opening the door. Ask her if she's crazy." After receiving the private message from Qin Feng, Chen Wuming immediately took it seriously. Recently, he has mobilized members to look for emerald level boss everywhere. Originally, he wanted to ask Qin Feng to help fight platinum level boss, but unfortunately the level of the platinum boss he found was too low, and Qin Feng was too lazy to take action. Last time, they found an emerald boss and asked Qin Feng to fight it. And their guild also made a lot of money. Although those equipment and skill books are not useful for the time being, but as long as the level goes up, they can be armed and strengthened in the first place. Or selling it to the official is also a lucrative income. So, for Shadow, Chen Wuming not only respects and fears it, but also has a mentality of welcoming the god of wealth. Okay, big brother, I'll ask what's going on right away. Very quickly, Qin Xiaoyu was severely scolded by Chen Wuming. Qin Xiaoyu was furious and cried and replied, "He is really my brother. His name is Qin Feng." Chen Wuming scolded, "Are you crazy? I said Shadow is my father. Hurry up and come back. Don't be so stupid. Isn't it enough to lose 2 legs? Don't disturb the great god." Obviously, Chen Wuming has no patience for this woman. Now is the critical period for the development of the guild. As a result, this woman morally blackmailed him every day and asked him to find someone to help her upgrade. Is this what a human being does? After being scolded by Chen Wuming, Qin Xiaoyu refused to leave. As a result, several female players from the Knights Templar came over soon, sneered and dragged her away forcibly. Wen Xiaoyu, who lost her legs in reality, had 2 low attributes in the game and could not resist at all. Qin Xiaoyu, who was dragged away, had dull eyes and fell into confusion. Originally, she was promoted to recruit people for the Knights Templar, and she could get some money from the guild from time to time, so she didn't lack longevity. As a result, she was not satisfied and wanted to upgrade. After all, she realized that the most important thing in this era is strength, not longevity. Level is very important. And her level, after such a long time, it is still only level 10. So, she wanted to morally blackmail Chen Wuming and let the guild help her upgrade. Unfortunately, not only did she fail, but she was also counterattacked by Chen Wuming. When Chen Wuming exaggerated the news, she was ruined in Zhanghai City. More and more people scolded her for being shameless, and Chen Wuming's guild became more and more famous, and she was no longer needed. It was not until then that she really hit the bottom. Chen Wuming only guaranteed her survival and gave her 1 day of life every day until the 3-year contract ended. And it only took 3 years of life. At the same time, she was also controlled in her activity area, not allowing her to run around, lest she go out to die again. Chen Wuming really had a psychological trauma for Qin Xiaoyu, so now Qin Xiaoyu can only rely on her best friend Chu Yan for food and daily necessities. How could Qin Xiaoyu be willing to accept this? Especially in those vague memories she had. Even if Qin Feng took her with him, she could live well. A while ago, she subconsciously resisted those memories, because if those memories were true, it meant that with Qin Feng's care, she lived much better than she did alone. She was unwilling to admit this fact. She could not accept the inference that Qin Feng is Shadow, because once this was true, it would make her look very stupid. But now, she was completely disgraced, and no one liked her wherever she went. She had to rethink the possibility that Shadow was Qin Feng, because this was her last way out. If Shadow is Qin Feng, he would cut off relations with me so simply because I dug out his eyes in his memory, right? Humph. So petty. Even if I dug out his eyes, I said I would find him new eyes. Putting all this aside, is he not at fault at all? Besides, even if that memory is true, it happened in the past. Or in a parallel world, what does it have to do with me? I am his sister anyway. Just apologize to him. I won't lose anything if I apologize to Shadow. The subtext is that if Qinfeng is not Shadow, then she will lose money if she apologizes. With this in mind, Qin Xiaoyu has two things to do. First, confirm that her memories are true, and then confirm that Shadow is Qinfeng on this basis. She can't publicly state that Shadow is her brother, otherwise others will think she is crazy. So she chooses the most direct way: come to the Pure Soul Land to try your luck. When the stone door opens, it means Shadow is back. She can pretend to be pitiful and see Shadow's reaction. Unfortunately, Qinfeng ignored her at all. After a moment of confusion, Qin Xiaoyu began to doubt her speculation. Could it be that those vague memories were not real? Shadow was not Qinfeng. In that case, let's find a way to prove it first. She recalled that the friend brought by Chu Yan had divinated Qinfeng's location. Maybe it could help. In addition, from those vague memories, she thought of a way to prove whether the memory was real. In my memory, the eyeless stone statue in the center of the ruins of Zhanghai City seemed to be an epic boss. Qinfeng took me to participate in the strategy, but it's not activated now. If I find a way to activate that boss, it proves that those memories are absolutely real. If Qinfeng knew about Qin Xiaoyu's suicidal behavior, he could only say, keep going, don't stop. When she really dies, it will be Qinfeng's turn to judge her. Ashasi said that Qin Xiaoyu had been marked by the Judgment Land and had entered the Judgment Land once, so as long as she died, she would be sent directly to the Judgment Land. At that time, she could be judged based on her memories and actions in her previous life. Moreover, her sins were quite serious. Qinfeng might not have enough divinity to judge her now. It would be better to accumulate more life and divinity. Qinfeng was not in a hurry. He began to build a teleportation array in the Soul Purification Land. After finishing, he continued to look for a place to kill monsters and level up, from level 25 to level 30. The first two levels were very fast, and the last two levels would be slower, which took about 5 days in total. However, on the second day, as expected, bad news came from the direction of the Sea City ruins. Before the Phoenix Egg was hatched, a terrifying epic boss, level 45, appeared from the horizon and flew straight to the hiding place of the Flame Fountain in the Sea City ruins. Chaos is born, 2 phoenixes and 1 loot shield. This is a black phoenix with 2 heads, a double soul in 1 body. The elder sister Lute and the younger sister Hill, each of which controls 2 higher level affixes. In other words, including the inviolable affix, this boss has a total of 5 higher level affixes. Originally, the Haicheng officials evacuated the players within 20 kilometers of the Phoenix Egg in advance, but they didn't expect that the horror of this disaster was far beyond their expectations. This black 2-headed phoenix first came to the sky above the Flame Fountain hiding place, bombarded the defensive barrier a few times, and saw that it couldn't be blasted open for a while. So it actually flew nearby and sprayed pieces of black flames at the players in the surrounding ruins. The platinum level defensive barrier has a durability of between 50 million and 100 million. As for the epic level boss, although it looks very fierce, the damage level is not at the same level as Qinfeng. You know, the epic level boss is designed for players to attack. If its attack power is as high as Qinfeng's, players will have no way to attack it. It can be killed in 1 skill. What's the point? Therefore, it is much slower than Qinfeng to break a defensive barrier. In this case, it chooses to attack other players around it to threaten Haicheng officials to return its Phoenix Egg. Faced with this situation, Haicheng officials were shocked. They never expected that this epic boss would have such a trick. Quick, please ask Shadow. Haicheng officials could not sit still and made a decision at the first time. However, they soon received a reply from the Magic City officials. Shadow said that he can't beat this boss unless you give him the Phoenix Egg. Haicheng officials were dumbfounded when they heard it. After all this time, they still want the Phoenix Egg? If you hand over the Phoenix Egg, why do we need Shadow? Returning the egg to the boss can also make the boss leave. But soon, the official of Magic City sent another message. If you return the egg to the boss will have to vent for a long time before leaving. If you give it to the Shadow will help the boss to get rid of it. Qinfeng was not saying this casually. That's what Haicheng did in the previous life. And they directly returned the egg to the boss? But the 2-headed phoenix was very indifferent. After taking the egg, it still retaliated against the players in the city, killing them like crazy, causing tens of thousands of people to fall into a state of chaos. As for Qinfeng's request for the Phoenix Egg, it's not that he really covets the Phoenix Egg. He really needs to use this Phoenix Egg to lure the boss to a special place, so as to kill the boss. Otherwise, Qinfeng is really no match for the boss. Just 10 seconds later, Wanye Weiyu solemnly sent a private message to Qinfeng. Yes, they will give you access to the hiding place of the Flame Fountain, and you can go in and take the Phoenix Egg, obviously. This time, the Haicheng officials chose to believe Qinfeng. The situation was too urgent, and it was impossible not to believe it. Until then, Qinfeng finally took Osirio with him. Let's go. Take you to soak the phoenix. Qinfeng used the teleportation stone and patted Osirio's head. As for whether you can soak it or not, it depends on your own ability. Big Phoenix. Osirio looked disgusted. Others have eggs. You want me to be a father? Then it laughed. But that egg is good. I still count on her daughter. Wait for the egg to hatch and raise a little phoenix. Qinfeng was speechless. This guy is too wretched, right? The ruins of Haicheng. the core area of the Flame Fountain hideout. Sister, let's go. Let's go. Your confusion meter is almost full. The white-haired boy, Shan Shangshui, looked nervously at his sister, Yun Jianyue, next to the phoenix egg and said anxiously, almost just a little bit. Yun Jianyue's face was gloomy, and the palm of her hand holding the staff was full of sweat. 3,000 words, chapter high. Please send electricity. Yun Jianyue was unwilling to give up. Her eyes were fixed on the 2-person high phoenix egg. There was a hatching progress bar on it, and more than half of it had already gone. I heard that someone in Kyoto had hatched a pet. The first player the pet saw after hatching will recognize its owner. If I leave, Yun Jianyue was a little lost. She was already very strong in Haicheng, but she still wanted to become stronger. How attractive was a powerful phoenix pet to her? A flame elementalist. Don't think about it. Let's go. My younger brother Shan Shangshui looked at the progress bar of the upper level scale above everyone's head, and his eyelids were twitching. Originally, there was a team of 60 people guarding here, but after the boss came over, several upper level affixes surrounded it, directly covering the entire hiding place through the defensive barrier. More than 10 people ran away directly. The remaining 40-odd people were also nervous. They were Yun Jianyue's loyal followers, so they didn't abandon her and run away. But Shan Shangshui couldn't let the situation continue. The white-haired young man took his sister Yun Jianyue and the other 40-odd people and quickly left the core area of the Flame Fountain hideout. Above their heads, 2 superordinate FX scales had reached 100%, which put them into the withered and corrupted states, withered scale. After reaching 100%, all damage is reduced by 99%, corrupted scale. After reaching 100%, no gain state can be obtained. These 2 superordinate FX scales are stacked relatively quickly. There are also chaos and peeling affixes, which are still in the process of continuous stacking. Since chaos is a long-term, out-of-control negative affix, like nightmare and whispering, the stacking speed is not too fast, especially if it is surrounded by superordinate affixes alone. It is much slower than withered and corrupted. When the epic phoenix boss flew over for a few seconds, wither and corruption were already fully stacked, making them unable to deal damage and unable to obtain any buff status. At this time, Shan Shangshui pulled Yun Jianyue and quickly fled from the hiding place. The farther away from the boss, the slower the superordinate affix scale stacked, but they had to be more than 20 kilometers away from the boss to completely get rid of it. Originally, according to the agility and speed of this group of people, it was actually enough to escape. After all, they had more than 200 agility per person, and running at full speed, they were also 40 to 50 meters per second. What's more, the epic boss was flying more than 10 kilometers away and attacking other players in the distance. But what they didn't expect was, when they began to move on a large scale, the Chaosborn Double Phoenix Lutzel actually noticed it, and a pair of wings burning with black flames spread out and flew toward the hiding place of the Flame Fountain. Fuck. How did it get here? Let's go! No, that bird is too fast. It must be supersonic. Before Yun Jianyue and the others could react, the epic boss had already arrived and hovered over their heads, with 2 heads and 4 cold eyes staring at them. Yun Jianyue and the others were still in the hideout, protected by the defensive barrier. But now they couldn't go out, and they couldn't stay out. If they didn't go out, the chaos meter would be full sooner or later, and they would fall into chaos. And if they went out, they would be attacked by the boss, go separately. Yun Jianyue had now reacted and regained her composure. She immediately gave the order and took Shan Shangshui to the north. The others also dispersed and ran in different directions, trying to leave the hideout. However, the epic boss Loot Shield showed a disdainful sneer, flapped a pair of wings, and wisps of black flame swept out, actually surrounding the entire defensive barrier of the hideout. As long as anyone wants to leave this hiding place, they will be burned to death by the flames and fall into chaos. It can be seen that this boss is no longer in a hurry, because they feel that their eggs are not in danger. So, they want to torture these human players. Finished. Yun Jianyue and others all changed their faces. They didn't expect that the skill range of this boss was so large that it actually covered the entire hiding place. They couldn't run away even if they wanted to. At the same time, many players around here, some of them reacted quickly, saw this epic boss appear, and they logged off quickly. Because the boss came too fast, some players hesitated for 2 seconds and didn't have time to log off. They were dragged into the battle, and then the chaos meter above their heads was full in a few seconds. These, the players who were in a state of chaos, were resurrected in their hiding places, with red eyes, and they attacked other players around them completely out of control. They kept killing and dying. The tradable life light balls that exploded on the ground were also picked up and exploded again. Since the players killed each other, the tradable life dropped would not decrease. Therefore, when a group of players killed each other, the total amount of tradable life remained unchanged. Some weak players would completely lose their life and die, but some strong players would eventually survive. In the last life, more than 20,000 people died completely because of this. But now, not only was the area of 20 kilometers evacuated first, but the reminder from Qinfeng had already spread among the people in the ruins of Haicheng. Most players knew that it was not good when they saw the boss go offline immediately. This means that the overall loss of Haicheng this time will not be too great. Of course, if the boss is allowed to continue, the final result will definitely be terrible. Fortunately, at this time, Heinfeng arrived. He rode Osiris, remained invisible, and had arrived at the teleportation point in the center of the Sea City ruin. Let's go! The two of them flew to the Flame Fountain hideout. Along the way, you can see that there are almost no players in the city ruins below. Or there are some guild hideouts where players who are chaotic and out of control are fighting each other. And when Qinfeng flew into the Flame Fountain, he found there are also more than 40 people fighting each other at the resurrection point of the Flame Fountain hideout. Among them is a white-haired young man and a red-dressed flame mage. Moon in the clouds, snow on the mountains. Qinfeng recognized the two people, but didn't care, seeing that this group of people also fell into a state of chaos, with red eyes, fighting each other. Qinfeng didn't pay attention. He has obtained the access rights to the Flame Fountain hideout. Then he went in directly. Come, hold it tight. Qinfeng quickly found the core area, lifted up the two-person high phoenix egg, and threw it to Osirio. Okay. Osirio's eyes lit up, and he stretched out his dragon claws to hold the phoenix egg. Let's go! Qinfeng didn't give the epic boss outside any time to react, jumped on Osirio, and flew towards the horizon in an instant. This situation instantly made the epic boss explode. Originally, the epic boss Ludicel was eating melons and enjoying watching those humans fall into chaos. As a result, while eating melons, they found that their eggs flew away inexplicably. Qinfeng's stealth level was too high, and the boss couldn't see through it. They could only see that the fiery red phoenix egg originally in the flame fountain suddenly flew up. An egg flew alone to the horizon. Swish. This epic boss immediately caught up, although she didn't understand what was going on. The epic boss still caught up with her in the first place. Although her speed was fast, it was obviously a little slower than Osirio. They were both epic, and although Osirio's current level correction was much lower, Osirio had a mount template that provided a super high flying speed bonus. At a faster speed, the epic phoenix watched her egg fly farther and farther in the sky. The epic boss finally flew away. This situation finally made the Haicheng officials who were observing from a distance breathe a sigh of relief. Shadow said the boss won't come back, and the egg is not in our Haicheng, so the phoenix can't come over even if it wants to. This epic boss is definitely intelligent, just like the Skeleton King in the Magic City, but it seems that the game has restricted their action area. Alas, only Shadow has this ability. I didn't expect that his speed is even faster than the epic boss, so this is his way. After all this time, he still wants the phoenix egg. It's a pity that we worked so hard for a long time, but didn't get any benefits, and we paid a price. Just then, another group of official players ran over and quickly said, "Don't talk nonsense. Hurry back to the hiding place." Something happened. Yun Jianyu and her team of more than 40 people are in chaos and are killing each other. Go back and control them. Let the comrades with strong control ability gather together, and they can freeze, silence, stun, knock back, etc. This countermeasure is correct to deal with chaotic players. You can only control them first and wait until the duration of chaos ends. This process usually lasts 1 or 2 days. If there is chaos resistance, it will be shortened. But it is obvious that at this stage, even top players like Yun Jianyu do not have chaos resistance attributes. For a time, Haicheng officials quickly dispatched a team of players with strong control capabilities to control the resurrection points of various chaotic hideouts. At the same time, some of the top officials of Haicheng officials were also discussing. This crisis came quickly and went quickly. Shadow warned us in advance, and now he has solved the crisis for us. We have to thank him. No need. Didn't he get the phoenix egg? You are stupid. You are really stupid. He got the phoenix egg by his own ability. What does it have to do with us? He helped us, and we don't show our appreciation. How can we ask him for help in the future? They quickly asked the communicator to contact the Magic City to discuss the matter of thanking Shadow. Not long after, a bad news came to their ears. More than 40 people on Yun Jianyu's side killed each other. In a short period of time, the lifespans of 2 people were exposed and they were completely dead. You have to know that the players in that team are all strong players in the first echelon of Haicheng. Every death is a loss. 2 died at once. Although the remaining chaotic players have been strictly controlled, the 2 dead players will never come back to life. One of them was a young man with a supporting profession, a formation master, who could amplify teammates and weaken enemies, but had very weak frontal combat power. This man had been pursuing Yun Jianyu. Although Yun Jianyue had not agreed yet, she also liked this young man. The other person was the white-haired young man, Shan Shang Shui. His profession was an ordinary priest. Although he had good talent, he was not a violent priest after all. In the chaos, his survivability was not strong. If he could not kill others, he would be killed by others. He also died after being killed more than 10 times in a row. This result made all the officials of Haicheng silent. In order to forcefully hatch the phoenix egg, Yun Jianyue lost a person she loved and her own brother. She is still in a state of confusion now. What will she feel when she wakes up? Outside the ruins of Haicheng, above the cloudy sky, a fiery red phoenix egg was flying in the air. Behind them followed a black flame phoenix with a wingspan of more than 30 meters. The phoenix's 2 heads looked at the flying phoenix egg in front of them, and its 4 eyes seemed to be spewing fire. They racked their brains to figure out why the egg flew away on its own. Sister, there must be an invisible human player who took our child away. Sister, don't worry. Human players at this stage can't have such a high level of stealth. Sister, that's what it says in theory. But there is no other possibility except this possibility. Sister, could it be an invisible NPC? The two sisters talked to each other. While flying fast, they stared at their phoenix eggs, seeing that the egg was flying farther and farther away, and was about to leave their sight. They were a little anxious, but suddenly, the phoenix egg stopped in front of them. When they approached with joy, a mean voice came over. Don't guess. I am your dragon brother, not an NPC, nor a player. When Luti and Hill were about to go forward to grab their phoenix eggs, the phoenix egg suddenly moved in midair. No matter how fast they were, they couldn't be faster than the phoenix egg. Unconsciously, a giant dragon with white bone wings gradually appeared. It held the phoenix egg with a pair of dragon claws and was looking at the epic two-headed phoenix in a playful way. It was Osirio. When the other party approached, Osirio flew away. He stopped only when the other party stopped chasing. What are you doing? Give our child back to us. The phoenix head was burning with black flames. Sister Luti looked at Osirio indifferently. The phoenix wings were burning with black flames, flapping in the sky, scattering wisps of pure black flames. Don't be nervous. We are one family. One family. Osirio sighed, sympathizing with the world. Look, you have drifted to this world and become a boss, and you will be killed by the players, sooner or later. If you are killed, what will happen to your child? It is better to entrust her to me, and I will take care of her for you. The younger sister Hill, burning with red flames, looked at Osirio with disgust. I don't believe you, you bone sword pterosaur. Our child will definitely be eaten by you if it falls into your hands. How could it be? Osirio shook his head quickly. Full of righteousness, I will eat, but not the kind of eating you imagine. Sister Luti looked cold. What are you thinking? Our tribe is self-reproducing. You have made a wrong calculation. Osirio was a little shocked when these words came out, but it did not feel frustrated at all, but became excited. So, this child really has no father, even if you are two sisters. I can still... Hearing what Osirio said, the epic Phoenix sisters were stunned. Just then, it's done. Come down. Hongfeng gave Osirio an order. Come on. Osirio smiled and dived down with the phoenix egg in his arms. The two-headed Phoenix sisters sneered and quickly followed. But when they flew over the clouds and saw the scene on the ground below, their eyes suddenly changed. Sister. No. It's the Pure Holy Monument. Pure Holy Monument. At this time, Xinfeng was standing quietly on the scorched earth ground. He did not remain invisible. There was a stone monument about 10 meters high next to him. The front of the stone monument was some mysterious rune, and the back was a series of three-dimensional characters. This is the ancient language of the gods, meaning pure. Stone monuments like this exist around every city ruin. Its solidity is almost the same as the Tower of Divine Power, not to mention the current players. Even the later players cannot destroy it. But at first glance, it is ordinary, because there is nothing special around it except that there are no monsters. At this stage, naturally only Qinfeng knows that this Pure Holy Monument represents a very high-end NPC organization, Pure Heaven. As long as the Pure Holy Monument is activated, a pure area with a range of 3 kilometers will be generated around the Pure Holy Monument. In this area, all superordinate affixes will be invalid. Originally, after this Pure Holy Tablet is activated, passing the test can summon the NPC of the Pure Heaven. But it is obvious that Qinfeng is not qualified to pass the test now. After all, even in his last life, he never tried it. According to the intelligence, the test of this Pure Holy Tablet is extremely difficult and has high requirements for divinity. You know, this is one of the ways for late players to reach the Land of Order. In the 9 years of the last life, only a few people in the world successfully passed it. Although there is more than one way to go to the Land of Order. But it is one of the ways I know. Xinfeng shook his head and didn't think much about it. He looked at the Pure Holy Tablet beside him. At this time, this Pure Holy Tablet was just activated by him. After the Pure Holy Tablet was activated, it seemed to come alive, and many pairs of pure white eyes appeared on it, as if they were looking up at this world from other worlds. As long as Qinfeng chooses a pair of eyes to touch, he can choose a test. But as long as he doesn't choose, he doesn't have to face the test. His idea was to use the pure area, generated by this Pure Holy Monument. When the pure area is generated, within a 3-kilometer radius, all higher level affixes are disabled. In such an environment, Qinfeng is confident of killing the epic two-headed phoenix. If there is no such environment, this phoenix has a stripping affix. If we hurt each other, her level is too high, and I will definitely fall into the stripping state first. In addition to the stripping state, what Qinfeng fears most is the corruption affix. The effect of this affix is that people cannot obtain any gain state. And for Qinfeng, invisibility is one of the most core gain states. When Qinfeng cannot be invisible, it means that his combat power is greatly reduced. It doesn't matter at ordinary times, but against the 45 level epic boss, not being able to be invisible is definitely a fatal injury. Unfortunately, the corruption affix does not belong to the out of control affix, so the scale stacking speed will be much faster. Qinfeng would not have time to peel it off and he would be corrupted, and then be peeled off by the other party, and finally fall into chaos. There is no need to consider the numerical and mechanical issues. Xinfeng was directly suppressed by the upper affixes alone in the godforsaken game. The prerequisite for attacking a high-level boss is to solve the upper affixes. Then consider the mechanism and numerical aspects. If there are only mechanisms and numerical values, even if it is a mythical boss, as long as it dares to show its health bar, Players will dare to kill it one after another, but the existence of upper affixes directly blocks this path. Compared with ordinary players and bosses, I can be said to be a combination of numerical values and mechanisms, completely crushing at any level. But facing this two-headed phoenix, my upper affixes are suppressed. I can only use this pure holy monument. In this way, within the range of the pure holy monument, all upper affixes are invalid. Qianfeng can fight the two-headed phoenix in a fair duel with super high stats, shields, and shadow arcs. Qianfeng is still confident that he can kill this epic boss. However, this method is not very useful. He can only lure the boss over with a phoenix egg. Other bosses don't have such obvious weaknesses. And the key is, Qianfeng didn't expect it. When Osiris came down with the phoenix egg and stayed beside him, the two-headed phoenix boss actually stopped on a scorched earth hillside in the distance. They didn't rush over, but instead rushed towards him from a distance. Looking over here, sister, why think so much? Just rush over and kill that human and we can get our child back. Sister, don't be impulsive. This human and the Bone Sword Pterosaur deliberately lured us here. Sister, so what if they lured us here, even without the superordinate affixes? Can he, a human at this stage, be our opponent? Sister, don't forget that his stealth level is over level 25. As long as he wants to run, we can't catch up with him. Sister, I understand. He must be sure to deal with us, so he will wait for us here. Sister, that's right. Moreover, this human knows how to activate the Pure Saint Monument. He is not an ordinary human. The two heads of the two-headed phoenix talk to each other. It seems that there is no intention to attack Qianfeng at all. This made Qianfeng a little depressed. The other party seems too cautious. If you really rush over to attack, the other party might fly away.
Alas.
Suddenly, Phoenix sister Luti sighed. In fact, what the Bone Sword Pterosaur said is right. We are now the boss. Sooner or later, we will be killed by the player. It's better to leave the child to this player. Sister Hill immediately objected. No, this player is fine. But that dragon is too dangerous. Sister Luti remained silent. Suddenly, she raised her voice and looked at Qianfeng, and then a sentence came from afar. Take good care of our child. When you reach level 40, bring Bell to Black Eye Volcano. We are willing to be your mount. Sister, is this your decision? Sister Hill sighed. But she didn't raise any objections after all. After her sister reminded her, she certainly saw it. The human in front of her is very different. If they want to live in this world with their children, then this human is probably the only hope. When Qianfeng heard what the other party said, he felt constipated. After preparing for so long, he wanted to kill an epic boss and get some legendary equipment and skill books. But in the end, they didn't fight and left the phoenix egg to him. Black Eye Volcano. Isn't this an underwater volcano near Haicheng? Qianfeng was a little puzzled when he learned about the other party's habitat. On the other hand, Osiris was cheering on the side. Human assassin. Do you think I should choose the big one or the small one? I'm not a child anymore. Can I have them all? Get lost. Qianfeng looked at the epic two-headed phoenix, turned around and flew away after saying this, still quite disappointed. I didn't get to fight this, and I'm a little itchy. At this time, Qianfeng noticed that in the sky not far away, there was a flying big bat, which seemed to be hovering in the air, scouting the situation here. It should be something summoned by a player. Qianfeng didn't care. Anyway, the activation of the Pure Saint Monument requires divinity, and ordinary players cannot do it even if they watch his activation process. Although only 5 points of divinity were consumed in total, Qianfeng still felt a little annoyed. This is a waste. Fortunately, Qianfeng soon received a message from Magic City Wanya Weiyu, saying that Haicheng was also preparing to award Qianfeng a meritorious medal. The medal is easy to say. What Qianfeng is more concerned about is how much lifespan is given. Let's go home to collect money and hatch eggs. Soon, Qianfeng did not return to the ruins of Haicheng. Instead, he stayed in the original place, took the 2-person high fiery red phoenix egg, used the teleportation stone, and went directly back to the Evil Spirit Academy. He first placed the phoenix egg in the deepest magma church. Outside the translucent walls around the church, rolling magma flowed. In the center of the church, there is a device that converts the rolling magma into the energy needed for the hiding place. Qianfeng paused the operation of the device, then put the phoenix egg into the magma intersection center. Under the impact of the rolling magma, the hatching progress on the top of the phoenix egg began to move again. Originally, Osiris also wanted to follow in, but it was too huge. The magma church at the bottom of the Evil Spirit Academy really couldn't accommodate it, so it could only wait outside. It looks like it won't hatch in a while. Go level up first. Qianfeng looked at the progress bar above the phoenix egg, which was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and he couldn't tell the exact hatching time, but he couldn't wait here. He could only go back to the basement of the Evil Spirit Academy and found the stray fairy Yuan in a room. Sister Yuan, take care of this egg first, and call me when it's about to hatch. Qianfeng took her to the magma church. Qianfeng's attitude towards this NPC was no different from that towards players. After all, he knew very well that NPCs like Yuan were players themselves, and had seen more bosses than other players on Blue Star had killed. It was not excessive to call her sister. The lightning fairy who was invited back pursed her lips slightly. Her black hood covered half of her face, hiding the gray gauze wrapped around one of her eyes. The other light purple eye looked at the phoenix egg in front of her with interest. This is the Hell Phoenix. The lightning fairy wrapped in a black robe smiled faintly and said, President, You can get the egg. You are lucky. Qinfeng was a little surprised, and his eyes lit up. Oh, Sister Yuan is familiar with this phoenix race. Originally, he wanted to ask the Eye of Knowledge about the origin of this phoenix. He even prepared a light and shadow crystal and recorded the situation of the epic boss, Lu Tsil, just to show it to Big Eyes. Unexpectedly, this lightning fairy seems to know it too. Not familiar. The black-robed fairy shook her head, and a flash of lightning flashed in her light purple eyes. The Hell Phoenix is clearly divided into male and female. If it is a female, it is responsible for self-reproduction. If it is a male, it is responsible for fighting and protecting the tribe. Its body size will be much smaller than that of a female. So if it is a male Hell Phoenix, it will be very good at fighting. As a pet, it also has the characteristics of a pet template and can randomly learn the professional characteristics of its owner. Is it still possible? Even Qinfeng was a little surprised. Originally, he had a dispensable attitude towards this pet. After all, Qinfeng can always be invisible in battle, but pets can't. But according to what the fairy sister said, if this Hell Phoenix is male, it is a natural fighting maniac. It can even randomly learn the professional characteristics of its owner. If it learns that my attack does not break the invisibility, wouldn't it be invincible? In this case, it can also come in handy in battle, Qinfeng thought, so he couldn't help asking. Sister Yuan, do you think the egg is male or female? The out-of-group fairy was silent for a moment, then asked back, President, do you think I'm his mother? Qinfeng was a little embarrassed, but quickly reacted. Does that mean his mother can tell whether the egg is male or female? The black-robed fairy nodded. Qinfeng breathed a sigh of relief. That's fine. Knowing the existence of Osirio, he was willing to entrust the egg to me, which means he is not worried at all. Most likely it is male. The fairy sister pursed her lips gently. In fact, the male-female ratio of the Hell Phoenix is 10 to 1. 10 males will produce 1 female, and the female belongs to the queen. Qinfeng was more relieved now. He asked again, do all females have 2 heads? 1 sister and 1 younger sister? The fairy sister heard this and was a little confused. As far as I know, there is no such thing. Like this. Qinfeng narrowed his eyes. It seems that the epic boss Lu Tsil seems to be an outlier in the tribe. Before being arranged as the boss, he must have had some unique experiences. Of course, Qinfeng didn't ask much now. After discussing with the rogue fairy Yuan, he left here. He returned to the ground area of the Evil Spirit Academy. Seeing Osiris was entangled with Big Eyes, Eyes asked a question. Lao Deng, don't waste time. Tell you Brother Long quickly. How to tell whether the phoenix egg is male or female? Eye of Knowledge? Aristotle widened his eyes. Tell me what kind of phoenix egg it is first. There are dozens of phoenixes in the starry sky? Osirio. It's the one with 2 heads. Big Eyes shook his head. As far as I know, there is no phoenix race with 2 heads. Osirio. That's it. What about the Eye of Knowledge? I suggest you find a factory to work. Seeing Qinfeng appear. Osirio left the Eye of Knowledge, flapped his wings and slid over. Boss, can it be hatched? How long will the little guy come out? Qinfeng looked at it meaningfully. It can be hatched? Thinking about it. He still didn't say much. This guy usually shouts human assassin, and now he knows to shout boss. It's too real. Let it be happy for 2 more days. Let's go. Level up. Qinfeng found Big Eyes and got a double experience status. Ride on the excited Osiris and fly into the sky. In the next 2 days, Qinfeng leveled up by killing monsters steadily. He soon received a reward of 1,000 years of tradable life from the Haicheng officials, and was also awarded the Haicheng Guardian Medal by the officials. The medal was pure gold and the size of a fist. This made Qinfeng a little speechless. What's the use of pure gold these days? But it also showed the sincerity of Haicheng, and the official work was still in place. At the same time, a lot of news was heard from Haicheng. Alas, the authorities are really unreliable. Even with Shadow's warning, they still can't do anything. The authorities can't do anything. I heard that it was Yun Jianyue's problem. She was too stubborn. The authorities did evacuate the crowd, otherwise there would be heavy losses. Alas, if it weren't for Shadow, how many people would have died in Haicheng? Anyway, I have to die. If I wasn't mentally prepared, I wouldn't have been able to react and log off immediately after seeing the Phoenix. I would explode if I looked at it for 1 more time. Thanks Shadow for saving my life. In the future, if you are undecided, you still have to ask Shadow. What Shadow says is the truth. According to the rules of Tianji's horse racing, the upper class Shadow should be paired with the lower class of me, Love. Sister upstairs. Look at me. My codename is Shadow4396. Can I be paired with you? At the same time, Qinfeng also learned from official channels. Yun Jianyue's younger brother, Shan Shengshu, died in the chaos because his lifespan was exposed. A group of them were trapped in the hiding place of the flame fountain, unable to fly or get out. Although Yun Jianyue reacted quickly and asked his men to kill each other once so that they died quickly. He wanted to log off during the 3-second interval of resurrection. But unfortunately, they didn't expect that they were forbidden to log off when they had the 3 out-of-control upper scales of Chaos, Nightmare, and Whispering. Even if they killed each other, they were still forced to resurrect at the resurrection point, and then there was Chaos. This was also a wake-up call for the Daxia officials. When facing a powerful boss, there will be no bugs. It was the 3rd day after returning from the ruins of Haicheng. Qinfeng had accumulated experience to level up to 28 but the experience of the last 2 levels was more than the previous 3 levels combined, so it might take another 3 days. That night, he had just finished brushing the monsters in a leveling area when he received a reminder from the stray fairy kite saying that the phoenix egg would hatch in about half an hour. Another half an hour. Xinfeng got the news and knew what was going on. The hatching speed of the phoenix egg was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and this half an hour was just an estimate. Looking at the ruins in front of him, the monsters were basically cleared out, and Xinfeng did not delay, and directly took out the Book of Divine Grant teleportation stone, made a teleportation stone, and returned to the city. Then it was the same as before. Leaving the anxious Osirios outside, he teleported to the Magma Church alone and saw the black-robed secluded fairy Yuan. When the fairy sisters saw Xinfeng, she did not speak, but leaned against the stone pillar alone, revealing half of her snow-white calves. Leisurely, Xinfeng glanced at her and focused his attention on the phoenix egg. In the center of the church, in the magma, the surface of the phoenix egg has already cracked, and the progress bar above the head is only a little short of the last section. Xinfeng waited for more than 10 minutes. A click sound came. Black and red flames seeped out from the cracks on the eggshell, covering the entire phoenix egg. However, the scene that Xinfeng expected of the phoenix flying out of the eggshell did not appear. He only saw that the cracks in the eggshell were getting bigger and bigger. The gradually cracked phoenix egg was completely filled with black and red flames, but there was no phoenix anywhere. "Where's the bird?" Xinfeng looked puzzled. The black-robed fairy coughed behind him and said in a sexy voice, "I said that the male hell phoenix will be smaller." After a while, a big gap appeared on the top of the phoenix egg, and then it cracked completely. The more intense black and red flames spread around. It even burned Xinfeng. He took 2 steps back and saw that most of the cracked phoenix egg was filled with black and red flames. In the center, there was a gray fluffy gadget. "This is so small." Xinfeng was stunned. Good news. This hell phoenix is really male, with strong fighting power, and will be a perfect pet for Xinfeng. Bad news. Osirio's dream is shattered. The key is, this is called small size. This thing is only the size of Xinfeng's palm. Before Xinfeng could react, the eggshell of the phoenix egg was completely turned into ashes under the burning of black and red flames, forming an energy body that was absorbed by the gray furry guy. Then the furry little guy flapped his wings twice, but found that he couldn't fly at all. It fell into the magma with a puff sound. Help. Hot, 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 hot. In the magma, the little thing flapped its wings and struggled. No. How can a phoenix be afraid of lava? Xinfeng sighed. Approached, stretched out his hand to pick it up from the lava, shook it twice, and shook off the lava on it. Then, Xinfeng held it in his hand and saw the little thing's 2 big black eyes, looking at him with a little curiosity. "You have obtained the pet hell phoenix male? Please name your pet juvenile name." Xinfeng took a look and didn't think too much. "Doesn't it look like a gray chick?" Anyway, it can be changed when it grows up. So Xinfeng directly entered the name. "Your pet hell phoenix male is temporarily named Gray Chicken juvenile name, Meta Gray Chicken." The little guy also heard the system prompt and was immediately shocked. "Your Majesty, you must not. My feathers will be black when I grow up." Xinfeng was stunned. "Emperor, Minister, is there a small problem when the system instilled language into it? Then call it Black Chicken," Xinfeng asked tentatively. The little guy's expression fell when he heard it. "No, it's better to call it Gray Chicken. Thank you for your grace." Xinfeng couldn't complain. Helplessly asked the fairy sister next to him, "Are they born with intelligence?" The out-of-group fairy Yun nodded and smiled lightly. "There are even inherited memories of the race. Okay, please, Sister Yuan. Let's go to your place first and baptize it." Xinfeng nodded and left the magma church with the out-of-group fairy Yuan. 5 minutes later, Xinfeng left the room refreshed. "You have accepted the baptism of the lightning fairy, and your lightning element resistance is permanently increased by 242 points. It's so comfortable to do this every day." Xinfeng looked at the skyrocketing lightning resistance, quite emotional. Then, he released the little fellow Gray Chicken that he had stored in the pet space. First, he checked the pet attributes. Hell Phoenix, Gray Chicken juvenile name Elv1. Grade, Epic Soul Binding Untradeable. Strength, 56. Constitution, 56. Agility, 6. Spirit, 68. Pet Template. Obtain an Epic Pet Template juvenile stage, and the 4-dimensional attributes are increased. The increase is 10% of the 4-dimensional attributes of the pet owner. If killed, it can be resurrected in the pet space after 60 minutes. Talent obtained when this race is used as a pet. There is a chance to obtain the owner's professional characteristics every time it is upgraded random. Racial skills. Chaos power. Gain 1 point of chaos affix around. With a range of 100 meters, attacks and skills come with 5 and 10 points of chaos affix. Racial skills. Hellfire. Spray out a beam of black flame. Continuously burn the target and stack the chaos scale. Racial skill, Son of Chaos. Immune to the Chaos affix and reduce fire damage by 90%, because it is a pet template. So its 4-dimensional attributes will get Xinfeng's attribute bonus. Although it only has a few dozen points of 4-dimensional attributes at the beginning, it actually has a strength of 300 to 500 points now. In other words, the current little Gray Chicken has far more combat power than ordinary players, especially that Flame Spray, which can also stack the Chaos scale, It is worthy of being the cub of Chaos Birth. As a pet, its experience gain is the same as that of a mount, which is twice that of its owner. So sooner or later, its level will catch up with Qin Feng, and as the pet level increases, its attributes will become higher and higher, and more skills will be unlocked. The most important thing is that this little guy has a chance to gain the professional characteristics of his owner every time he upgrades. This is its real core ability. In other words, if luck is good, this little guy will grow up and may have Qin Feng's key professional advancement effect. That is the 4th professional advancement feature. Attacking will not remove invisibility, and any attack special effects will also gain invisibility, if it is really inherited. Wouldn't it be an old 6th phoenix? Qin Feng thought as he walked and put the little guy on his shoulder. The little guy seemed a little timid and looked around. When Qin Feng came to the ground, he called Osirio over. Suddenly, a giant dragon head came over, and the green eyes fell on the little guy. The little phoenix was startled and immediately hid behind Qin Feng's head, sticking out his little head. Hey, what are you doing? Alas, Osirio took a look, sighed, and shrank his head back. He saw that this was another one with a penis. The idea of nurturing from childhood was ruined. When he saw Qin Feng with a faint smile, he immediately hated. Human assassin? You are still laughing. Qin Feng. Male Hell Phoenix is more powerful. Isn't it normal for me to laugh? Osirio was very disappointed. What a fool. If this is a female, wait for her to reproduce by herself. Won't she have a litter in the future? As many as she wants. Qin Feng. He found that what the silly dragon said made sense, and he was speechless. Soon, Osirio calmed down, since he couldn't play nurturing from childhood. He would treat this one as a son. So, Osirio looked at the little guy and coaxed him. Ahem, boy, can I be your father in the future? The little gray chicken was a little scared at first, but after hearing what Osirio said, he was so angry that he jumped out and stood on Qin Feng's shoulder, saying excitedly, what a fool. Big brother, in our Hell Phoenix clan, we value girls over boys. In our clan, males have no status at all. They are all social animals. There are dozens or hundreds of licking G around a female phoenix. Brother, your Bone Sword Pterosaur clan, the Dragon King can have dozens or hundreds of concubines. This is the real king. I see that Big Brother is majestic, heroic, and shows the style of a king. I envy Big Brother so much. But Big Brother is so stupid that he wants to join our Hell Phoenix clan. Hearing this, Osirio's face changed. What? Are you serious? How can it be false? You have no status in our Hell Phoenix clan, and your life is over. The little gray chicken was extremely excited. Brother, I will follow you in the future. Teach me how to become the king. Listening to the exchange between the two guys, a big question mark slowly appeared on Qin Feng's forehead. This little guy seems to be a problematic player too. Okay. Thank you, brother. I almost fell into the pit. Osiris was scared for a while, then he straightened his chest. Okay, brother. If anyone bullies you in the future, just tell me. I tell you, when I was still the boss, this guy started to brag, from killing people everywhere, all the way to having many wives and concubines. But the little phoenix was very yearning and was fascinated by it. Qin Feng took the little guy on his shoulder and jumped on Osirio's back. Let's go! First find a place to level up and raise the level of the gray chicken. Okay, sit tight. Let me show you what a real gray plane is. Osirio laughed. The wings spread out and instantly soared into the sky. Originally the little guy was very excited, but the sudden supersonic speed made it unable to react, and the whole ball-like plush body flew backwards all of a sudden. Qin Feng silently put it into the pet space, then released it and held it in his hand to prevent it from being thrown away again. Nearly 20 minutes later, Qin Feng found a level 30 monster spawning area, which was a violent area with 100 times the life flow rate, and a scorched earth plain full of dead trees. Qin Feng just killed a group of monsters in seconds, and the little gray chicken on his shoulder instantly rose from level 1 to level 7. Your Majesty, I've leveled up. The little gray chicken jumped up and down excitedly. Why don't you change your title? Qin Feng always felt something was wrong. The little guy was confused. Isn't the emperor among humans called the emperor? Qin Feng held his forehead. This seems to be true. With Qin Feng's current strength, if he says he is the emperor among humans, I'm afraid few people will not admit it. It's just, isn't this title too role-playing? Qin Feng glanced at the gray chicken's attribute panel. Hey, from level 1 to level 7, I actually got my 2 professional passives. This probability is quite high. They are Professional Passive 1 and Professional Passive 3. Professional Passive 1 is currently useless. The effect is that the duration of invisibility is doubled, and the invisibility skill can be used in the invisible state for the gray chicken. If you want to be invisible, you must rely on Qin Feng's mythical level Integrate into Darkness skill. Once this skill is used, it will be permanently invisible. And Professional Passive 3 is okay. The effect is that the damage of attacks launched outside the target's field of view is increased to 3 times the original. After all, it is a combat pet, so increasing damage is of course useful. Half an hour later, the level of the gray chicken has reached level 18. Finally got Qin Feng's Professional Passive 5 and Professional Passive 4. The former is Shadow Arc, which allows the gray chicken to delay when it is damaged, in negative status, and when the invisibility is released. It will take effect 3 seconds later. The latter is the core passive of Qin Feng at present. In the invisible state, attacking will not exit the invisible state, and the last professional advancement also added an effect so that the attack special effect also gains half of the stealth level. The sixth phoenix is born. Hey, why don't you kneel when you see the Emperor? With a childish shout, a four-armed humanoid zombie monster suddenly became charred all over. This was burned directly by an invisible black flame. The Emperor, decree, behead. The invisible phoenix wings, with invisible flames, instantly crossed the neck of a three-headed monster and cut off all three heads. Sun Thief. Osiris said you are a big idiot. The little guy relied on invisibility and spitfire at a platinum boss crazily, but the boss heard the sound and identified the location, and slapped it away on the spot. This little phoenix had a lot of fun. Qinfeng secretly observed it. Every 10 levels, the little phoenix will unlock a new skill. The skills unlocked at levels 10 and 20 are both attack skills with the chaos affix, one with high damage to a single target and one with a range attack. The third skill will be unlocked at level 30, so Qinfeng has to wait until he reaches level 30 first. In addition, as the level increases, the four-dimensional attributes of the Grey Chicken are also soaring. It was only a few dozen points at the beginning, but when it reached level 20, it had already reached 600 or 700 points. With the 10% four-dimensional attributes from Qinfeng, the total attributes of this little guy have reached more than 1,000. However, to make it grow out of its infancy, it needs to stay in a high multiple life flow rate area. Qinfeng knew that the growth rate of a pet is related to the environment in which the owner lives. If it takes 100 years for the Hell Phoenix to go from infancy to growth period under normal circumstances, then it only takes 1 year in the violent area with 100 times the life flow rate. So if you want your pet to grow quickly, you can consider areas with 1,000 times or even 10,000 times the flow rate. Anyway, as long as Qinfeng is in the invisible state, his life flow rate will slow down by 90%. When the pet grows up, it will get more attribute enhancement from the owner. For example, the Grey Chicken in its infancy can inherit 10% of Qinfeng's four-dimensional attributes. When it reaches the growth stage, it can inherit 20%. And when it reaches the mature stage, the inherited attributes will be even higher. This is the effect brought by the pet template. At the same time, Qinfeng discovered, although this little guy is very naughty, there seems to be a kind of obsession similar to revenge in the depths of his eyes. It should be related to its mother. Qinfeng thought about it. The two-headed phoenix Lutizel is an alien in the Hell Phoenix tribe and was excluded. It must have suffered a lot. This little guy has inherited memories, so he probably has hatred for his native tribe, but he just didn't express it clearly. It was on the day when the little phoenix was hatched, the ruins of Haicheng. The strong man of Haicheng, the flame elementalist Yun Jianyue, and her surviving subordinates who had been in chaos for 2 days, finally woke up from the chaotic state. When Yun Jianyue learned about what happened in the past 2 days, her mind suddenly exploded.